Mortis, can we please go down there?
A pizza party?
It's for office birthdays.
In the series premiere, written by Seth MacFarlane and directed by Jon Favreau, we're introduced to newly promoted Planetary Union Captain Ed Mercer and the rest of the Orville crew: Bortus, Alara, Gordon, John, Claire, and Isaac.
And my ex-wife, Kelly Grayson.
As they set out on a maiden space voyage to deliver supplies to Epsilon 2, where they quickly learn that delivering scientist bottles and microscopes or whatever is just a ruse to get the Union there to help protect a technological breakthrough from getting into the wrong hands. In this episode, we're briefly introduced to Planetary Union Central, located in 25th century New York City. It's nice to see a completely green, clean Manhattan that seamlessly incorporates futuristic skyscrapers blending in with the more iconic New York imagery that we're all used to seeing. It sure beats all the other versions of the Statue of Liberty we usually see in movies and TV shows that take place in the future.
Damn you all to hell!
When we're first introduced to Admiral Halsey, played by Victor Garber, in his office at Union headquarters, we can clearly see that the building is located adjacent to Central Park, and you can actually see the Empire State Building in the background. Here's an exterior shot of the building as well. Captain Mercer is a New Yorker, you guys.
I got a gun, let's get to a Broadway show.
After Ed grabs Gordon and they head to the Orville for the first time, we get our only look so far at the massive Union dockyard in orbit around Earth. This thing is huge! Sure, the Orville's only a mid-sized exploratory vessel, but it's pretty big by our standards, yet it's completely dwarfed by Earth's dockyard. When Ed first goes to tell Gordon that he's got his own ship and he wants him to be the helmsman, we learn that environmental simulators, aka holodecks, exist in the Orville universe. It's also the only time we get to meet Justin the Ogre, played by Patrick Cox.
Hey, dude, this is my buddy Ed.
Hey, Ed, nice to meet you. I'm Justin.
How are you?
Oh, great, super. Always such a treat to meet one of Gordon's friends.
When the crew makes their way to the research facility, they're introduced to Dr. Aronoff, played by Brian George. He's the director of Epsilon 2, who's hoping the captain can provide protection against the Krill, who want to steal and weaponize the temporal acceleration device they've invented. He's also a dog lover.
See that dog in the background licking his balls?
First thing I saw.
Nicknamed the Scientist's Playground, Epsilon 2 is a pure research facility located on an Earth-like planet. A hub that smart brain people petition for the opportunity to work there because its laboratories are all flush with science. Besides having everything a person could want, even for this guy who comes from the same species as Lieutenant Dan apparently, there are no bars on Epsilon 2.
How about strip clubs?
Gordon.
Sorry.
There are no strip clubs.
The building used for this location was shot at 1 Baxter Way in Westlake, California, but some of you might recognize it as the headquarters for the San Angeles Police Department in Demolition Man. Earlier in the episode, we get a quick glimpse of our first non-humanoid life form in the Orville universe, Yaphet, voiced by Norm Macdonald. But we're also introduced to another non-humanoid alien at Epsilon 2, Dr. Jorvik. Here's the original sketch that Seth MacFarlane gave to the special effects team to create this character, next to the fully realized Dr. Jorvik from the episode. The main Epsilon 2 laboratory, where we're introduced to the anti-banana ray and that dick, Derek, was actually just a redress of the Orville's standing cafeteria set.
Or entire armies reduced to frail elders instantly. You do realize this could also be used as a weapon.
Luckily, Ed and Kelly were able to use the device against the Krill by sabotaging it. Happy Arbor Day, boys. You got wood. Let's get into the Krill gear that we were introduced to in this episode. Our first look at the Krill shows them wearing fully armored uniforms and helmets that open and retract automatically to expose their gross albino alligator faces. In full regalia, they kind of look like insects. Now with all this gear on, not to mention the prosthetics to make a person look like a Krill soldier, it's almost impossible for an actor to feel anything going on around them during the action. So the prop designer built tappers into the Krill assault weapons, which makes it so the actors can actually feel a reaction when they fire the weapon.
Sorry, can you move like 2 steps to your right? There's just a lot of dead space there. Just Yeah, just right there. Perfect. Yeah, sorry, you were just very weirdly framed. It was all I could focus on.
Designed to be a medium-sized exploratory vessel, the Orville's look evolved around the concept of rings of exotic material, spatial tensor coils, that would process dark energy into a quantum drive that folds space to allow the ship to travel faster than light. The ship has upper, middle, and lower quantum engines, and a fluid, elegant design overall. Now, one thing I really like about Union ships is that they all have a uniformed look. Realistically, this is how a unified organization like the Planetary Union would work. But in this episode, we're given access to the shuttle bay, Ed's office, complete with a more subtle version of Kermit the Frog, Gordon's quarters, some corridors, a staircase that was actually salvaged by Fox from American Horror Story and reused for the Orville, and most importantly, the bridge, which is located right on top of the ship, with an open, clear bubble ceiling that reminds me of one of my other favorite starships. Now, one thing that the Orville does differently, and in my opinion better than Star Trek ever did, is they make you feel like this utopian vision of our future was actually created by and is lived in by a more truthful and realistic version of humanity. In 400 years, people are still people, even though they're living in a technological wonderland. They still have relationship problems, insecurity issues, they can't wait to get off work. It's a future I'd feel right at home in, and I think you probably would too.